A grand castle stands tall under a bright blue sky. A formal declaration names Joran Tamer as the new border lord. Joran kneels before the queen, and she formally extends a sword towards him. People murmur in confusion after Joran's appointment, and Joran himself wonders what a border lord even is. He wonders if the queen misspoke and truly meant Margrave instead. The queen commands everyone to silence. She then asks Joran if he is deaf. Joran's eyes widen, and a bead of sweat appears on his face after her question, and he responds to her with a denial. The queen stares directly ahead, her expression stern and unwavering. She asks Joran why her command was not acknowledged. Joran wonders if his status window doesn't know what to do. He desperately pleads for the order to be withdrawn, urging her to take it back. The queen sternly asks Joran if he intends to refuse her will again. Joran explains that he respectfully accepts the boundless position she offers, despite his hesitation. He then asks for clarification on the term border lord. The queen's eyes widen in shock and offense. She angrily questions what Joran just called her. Joran immediately tries to apologize and clarify his statement to the queen. The queen's face contorts in pure fury. She indignantly questions Joran's address, reminding him that she is the ruler of Cain and implying, "Your Highness is insufficient." The queen furiously asks if Joran does not recognize her as his lord. Joran bows deeply in fear and respect, denying her accusation and calling her Your Majesty. Joran explains he must have briefly lost his mind, overwhelmed by the immense grace of his queen. A hooded man stands, presenting a magical projection of a diverse landscape. They declare this projection to be the fief the border lord shall govern. The courtiers react with bewilderment to the newly revealed fief, the city of Apocalypse. A lady wonders if it's truly that city, noting it has no market, no citizens, and more monsters. The queen firmly grips the hilt of a sword. She orders everyone to be silenced. The queen declares the city of Apocalypse is no more. She renames it the Tamer Fief. The Vice Minister of Internal Affairs humbly asks the queen what a border lord is, as he has never encountered such a title. The queen replies that the unfamiliar title is expected because she has just created it. The queen offers her congratulations. Joran receives the message with quiet anticipation. She declares that Joran has become the continent's first and only border lord. She stands, instructing him to protect her subjects well. Joran kneels before the queen, expressing deep gratitude for her grace. Joran is in pain, his wide eyes showing exertion as a powerful force engulfs him with a sword poised above his head. He curses in extreme frustration and despair. A lump appears on Joran's head. An unknown voice reveals Joran's destiny to become the queen's trusted royal guard captain in the game's story. We see Joran leading armored guards through a serene, pastoral setting. His name is Joran Tamer. But Joran Tamer soon gets caught up in an unexpected incident. He ultimately ends up dying as a tragic character. Two guards question why their captain is acting so strangely. The other guard agrees, noting Joran has been saying strange things ever since his resurrection. He continues to ponder, wondering if there was an issue with the resurrection ritual. Joran clutches his head in anguish, questioning why he was made into Joran instead of retaining his own identity. He regrets his decision to accept this quest. We then meet Bang Ho-young, a 27-year-old logistics center employee, who lets out a yawn. Young gazes thoughtfully at kids walking down the street, hoping they reach school safely. This has been his daily routine for 3 years, ever since his parents passed away. Young diligently lifts a box, wanting to do more for his younger siblings. He thinks it's already lunchtime. After eating, Young heads straight for the break room, humming idly about slacking off. He then loads up Rain of Dice, his primary form of entertainment and a major part of his daily routine. Young smiles, checking his phone and seeing that many of his items have been sold. He wonders which hero to select for his daily quest. A character profile screen appears for Shaman Bada, who possesses a unique ability to convert enemy units into allies. Young thinks he could lure enemies instead of recruiting troops. An explanation notes that conversion gauge consumption increases with the enemy's level. Weak monsters are quick to convert, but strong ones require a long charge time. Young notes an ogre has just shown up. Young's hand presses a conversion button on the screen, commanding the ogre to become one of his soldiers. He states he only needs a few more troll shamans. A clear sign appears on the screen, indicating Young has achieved victory. He notes his 3,500 kill points to spare as a good score. Young looks thoughtfully at his glowing phone, wondering what is happening. A banner then announces the unlocking of a new season-exclusive quest, Apocalypse Fief Defense. Young is surprised by this new quest and questions why Apocalypse, a city, is now called a fief. Young intensely digests the details of the new quest. He reacts with disbelief and shock, questioning the reality of the situation. The quest explains players can convert accumulated HP into cash at a rate of 10,001 per point, and also receive 5 mythic-grade items. The reward display continues with more 50,001 bills. A sparkling mythic-grade item also appears, showcasing the quest's great value. Young expresses his astonishment at the high 1 per point conversion rate. He questions if the calculation is based on total accumulated points. Young grins broadly, his eyes gleaming as he imagines selling the 5 mythic-grade items for profit. He firmly grips his phone. A digital notice then warns that the quest is in hardcore mode, offering no retries if he is defeated. Young dismisses hardcore mode as insignificant, perceiving the quest as an amazing deal despite the added risk. He sees many chaotic player messages scrolling by, as players express widespread excitement and competition for the quest. Young notes the increasing noise and predicts the game site will crash from the event's popularity. He closes his eyes, contemplating if he should accept the challenge. Young continues to deliberate, wondering if selling all his current items would even amount to 5 million won. He then considers how the quest money could let kids eat and do whatever they wanted. Young decisively presses the participate button. He declares his participation. A notification announces the unlocking of the new Apocalypse Fief Defense season-exclusive quest. An unknown voice addresses Young, startling him and making him exclaim in disbelief. A critical system message announces an emergency patch will apply ultra-hardcore mode. Young looks around, asking where the voice is coming from. A notification warns that failing the ultra-hardcore mode quest will erase game data and cause the player's death. The relentless game rules make it clear that giving up or stopping is impossible. Players cannot exit the game until the quest is completed. Young looks up in fear as a dragon roars, revealing its sharp teeth. He groans from the intense pressure. Young screams out in agony, his face contorted. Our protagonist explains how he came to possess the body of the game character, Joran Tamer. In this game's lore, humans can only be resurrected once, and that's through a priest. Young had died during his own story, and during his resurrection ritual, Ho Young's soul overlaid onto him. He didn't gain the proper abilities that Young had. Instead, he received a unique skill called conversion. Young then speaks to the status window, asking if a certain detail is correct. He realizes that time inside the game will not affect real-world time. An alert then appears, informing him that time in his original world has ceased. It states that clearing this game will return his body and soul to the exact moment he was summoned. Young processes the alert, wondering if he would return to lunchtime. He sighs with relief, realizing this means his younger siblings will be safe. Young has been appointed Count of the Borderlands and is now at a military encampment. Someone addresses him, calling him Lord Count and asking if he is all right. Lillian looks at him, and her stats and description are displayed. Young assures Lillian that he is fine. Lillian, however, feels both doubt and disappointment over the changes in her admired superior. Young closes his eyes, thinking about his ability to see others' stats upon meeting their gaze, which then compels him to respond. Lillian watches him from behind. Suddenly, Lillian questions the exact identity of the status window. Young reacts with shock. Lillian speaks to Young, reminding him he kept mentioning status window on their journey to the capital. Young struggles internally to explain the situation, frustrated that the status window only appears when he calls it aloud. Lillian looks forward to him and asks Young if he remembers their first meeting, and he confirms that he does. Young thinks about unlocking her character many times in the game. Lillian then asks him what he had said to her back then. After Lillian's question, she sits on the ground crying, while Joner stands attentively nearby. Joner gently reaches out to Lillian, comforting her as he calls out her name. Joner then proposes that they go together. Lillian looks forward with an attentive expression. Lillian then partially calls out Joner's name and tells the Lord Count that soldiers are waiting. Young responds that he will be there shortly. Young gently places a hand on Lillian's shoulder, addressing her by name. He tells Lillian that they should go together. Lillian looks up with wide, hopeful eyes and a blush, surprised and happy that Young remembered. Young now stands on a parade ground, facing many soldiers. The narration indicates the soldiers' average conversion is 50, which reflects their favorable feelings toward Ho Young. Young looks worried as he reflects on the drastic drop in these conversion numbers from over 90 on his first day of possession. Young continues his internal thoughts, feeling grateful his followers have not deserted him despite the challenging situation. Young closes his eyes, reflecting that Joner Tamer, the body's original owner, possessed intellectual charisma and eloquence. He continues to think that he is neither eloquent nor well-educated, and he internally requests help. Young resolves to seek the help he needs, knowing this moment will determine the future of his subordinates. An unknown individual urgently asks their lord about the company's future. Young declares his authority over the company's destiny, but notes that individual placements remain a personal choice. He clarifies that the choice for individual placements is theirs alone. A group of armed guards looks down with concern and mild surprise, murmuring amongst themselves. Young firmly states the order to exile them into a monster den. He explains that many nobles have already mocked his circumstances. Young stands with his head bowed among soldiers, questioning the point of enjoying wealth and glory alone. He thinks he could have lived in luxury as captain of the royal guard, but notes that the soldiers would still be risking their lives fighting monsters, wandering from battlefield to battlefield. Young declares he would rather share hardships and joy together with them. The soldiers are moved by Young's words, and their conversion rate slightly increases. Young clenches his fist, promising his followers future rewards for their efforts. He continues his passionate speech, stating that even if they face harsh survival rather than comfort, they will wander desolate valleys instead of having cozy homes. Young concludes his speech, promising to ensure their difficult journey will be a time worth living. The soldiers look up with awe and inspiration, reflecting the impact of Young's speech. The speech deeply inspires the soldiers, and their minimum conversion greatly rises. Young promises his soldiers unclaimed lands and calls for those who will follow him to step forward. His soldiers cheer, raise their arms, and pledge their unwavering loyalty to follow him even to the ends of the continent. They proclaim, "Long live the Count of the Borderlands." Young gazes forward with a smile. A system notification appears, announcing that the passive skill enhance has increased from level 1 to 2. The Queen asks Young about the reason for his visit. Young humbly requests attendants to accompany him. The Queen questions Young's request for attendance, reminding him she has already entrusted his men's fate to him. Young explains that the Queen's loyal soldiers have chosen to follow him. The Queen expresses surprise. She questions why he still asks for attendance, suggesting he simply hire mercenaries or mages instead. Young then looks serious and declares his intention to bring along imprisoned convicts, granting them pardons in exchange. Inside the prison, Young identifies himself as Joren Tamer, Count of the Borderlands. He requests the release of some prisoners. The guard looks surprised and asks him to repeat the request, thinking he wants to visit prisoners. Young clarifies he wants the prisoners released, not just visited. Young looks puzzled as the guard asks about a prisoner while calling him Lord Baron. Young points, correcting his title to Borderland Count, not Baron. A window identifies the prisoner as heinous criminal Jajal, convicted of numerous thefts and robberies. Jajal is sentenced to 15 years and plans to resume banditry after his release. Young expresses frustration that troublesome criminals are being pushed onto him. The warden responds to Young's statement, assuring him he did not do that. Young then declares that none of these individuals are useful at all. He wonders if expecting freedom for service is too much. Young observes the imprisoned convicts once more, then makes a specific selection. He chooses a woman with blonde hair and red eyes who appears serious and contemplative. Young questions why a priest is imprisoned, asking what crime she committed. The warden explains that Luvia is imprisoned for 2 counts of murder, despite only 1 person dying. Young is confused, questioning how there can be 2 murder counts for a single victim. The warden explains that Luvia killed someone, resurrected them, and then killed them again. Luvia questions the warden, asking if a doppelganger is considered human, as Young observes. The warden responds that doppelgangers are monsters, not human, despite their appearance. Luvia, looking distressed, questions why she is accused of killing a person if the victim was a monster. Luvia emphatically declares that she killed a monster, not a person. She yells from behind the prison bars, questioning if someone who kidnaps children for dark mages can truly be considered human. Young looks thoughtfully, agreeing that such individuals deserve death. Livia acknowledges that Young understands her, despite not knowing him. Livia smiles and asks Young why she killed the victim twice. Young looks forward assertively, explaining she could only kill the victim twice because resurrection is limited to one instance. Livia calmly affirms the explanation, then states she would have killed the monster 100 more times if resurrection allowed it. Livia then introduces herself as Livia, a wing serving Harriet. She is introduced as a 4th-rank priest. A system notification explains that recruiting her is important since the faction lacks a priest. Livia apologizes for her tone. She explains that even the bishop could not stop her actions. A stats display shows Livia's detailed stat block, revealing her strength, intelligence, divine power, and a note about her interest in the Guardian. Young internally assesses Livia as dangerous, but notes her good stats. Livia then asks Young if something is on her face, wondering why he stares. Young denies staring, suggesting a proper introduction instead. He formally invites Livia to lend her strength to the tamer territory. Livia listens intently to Young's invitation. Young offers to appoint Livia as a communal priest and an honorary citizen, granting her special privileges. Livia gazes forward, processing Young's offer and its implications. A red-eyed woman questions the special privileges being offered. Young leans in closely, looking intently at Livia, who looks back with a wary and questioning expression. Young then declares these special privileges include the right to punish the guilty. With a confident smile and hands clasped, Livia declares she will join. Livia and Young engage in a handshake, sealing their agreement. Following their agreement, Young welcomes her to the tamer territory. The warden and Young walk through a low-ceilinged stone corridor, and Young asks why the ceiling is lower only in this section. The warden explains this area holds shorter, non-human prisoners, such as dwarves and half-bloods. Young then asks about other race prisoners. As a child sits confined behind prison bars, Young asks what crime the half-blood committed. The warden states the child's crime was theft, earning him a 7-year prison sentence. Young asks what item he stole. The child confesses he first tried to steal a woman's heart, but when that failed, he stole her house deed instead. Young is confused, finding the situation crazy. The child further explains his peculiar reasoning, believing that if he could not live with the woman he loved, he should at least live in the house she once occupied. Young holds a hand to his forehead, utterly baffled and exasperated by the child's reasoning. Young considers checking the child's statistics as a blue stats overlay begins to appear. A detailed stats window for the child, named Bowunnel, fully appears, listing attributes like Strength B+, Intelligence D, and Magic X. It also shows his specialty is sling. His quirks include kleptomania and impulsive behavior, and that he senses something despite not knowing about the Guardian. Bowunnel's stats continue to appear, revealing he is a half-blood from Talia, a country in the western continent, and works as a dungeon mercenary. His skills in scouting and trap disarming are shown to be strong. Young and the warden stand looking at Bowunnel. Young thinks finding Bowunnel's mercenary background is more useful than he initially considered and ponders whether to try persuading him. Young tells Bowunnel that 6 years remain on his sentence, asking if he finds it tough. Bowunnel looks up and questions if those 6 years are truly tough. Bowunnel then complains about the terrible food and forced labor, stating he wants to escape immediately. Young internally considers Bowunnel's words, noting how the prisoner mentioned the meals before the labor. Young looks contemplatively to the side as he formulates a plan. He confirms his plan, deciding it is good to try. Young asks Bowunnel if he wants to be let out, attempting to persuade him by promising delicious daily meals from their unit's good cook. Bowunnel shows interest, asking if the offer of good meals is real. Young claims he can already get outside food in prison by spending money. He then eagerly asks the warden what is on the menu for tonight. The warden lists the special meal for the day: fermented sardine jelly, chilled slime salad, black bread, and minotaur bone broth. Bowunnel shouts upwards with determination, volunteering to go, stating his resolve to go to that territory. Young formally welcomes Bowunnel to the Tamer's territory. A mansion had been awarded some years prior for achievements in subjugating monsters. The territory's owner stays there less than half the year because of frequent business trips. The mansion only has a single housekeeper and a single maid as employees, but the housekeeper flees the mansion grounds hastily, terrified after hearing the name Apocalypse. With his eyes closed, Young thinks about the maid. For years ago, Young as Joner rode a horse across a broad desert. He asks the soldier who the people are, and the soldier explains that the group are hostages, previously held by the bandits they just subdued. A little girl sits on the ground, wearing a somber, unmoving expression. Young observes that the freed girl refuses to leave. He looks down at her, asking if she has nowhere to go, then invites her to come with them. The little girl gazes forward with a calm, pensive expression. Young realizes the little girl is the child he saved previously. He then considers how much money the house would fetch if he sells it, pondering if he should completely sell the mansion. The girl reacts with alarm, believing Young intends to sell her off and calling it cruel. Young appears surprised by her misinterpretation. He quickly reassures her, explaining he was referring to the house. The girl clutches her chest in relief, stating she thought he meant selling her to another mansion. Her stat window appears, introducing her name as Peach. It displays her character statistics and quirks, including Assimilation S+, and her being overly obsessed with her master. Peach declares her absolute loyalty to Young and enthusiastically agrees to follow him anywhere. Young thanks her. Peach smiles unsettlingly, thinking that if he ever abandons her, she will chase him beyond the ends of the world. A system interface appears, showing that dismissing a subordinate requires 1,000 EP. Persuading a voluntary resignation has an extremely low success rate of 0.001%. Young sits on a bench, looking troubled, with Peach standing by his side. He considers that even if he had 1,000 EP, he would not want to spend it on dismissal. Young finds it tough to be called master by a girl around his sister's age. Peach looks concerned and asks Young if he is sick, noting that he might suffer from headaches after his revival. Young feels suffocated by Peach's embrace and demands she move away. Peach looks shocked, holding her hands to her face in distress. She expresses indignation at Young's harsh words, especially when she was worrying about him. Young calmly instructs Peach to step back a little. He reiterates his demand for Peach to call him Lord instead of Master. She turns her back, appearing to sulk. Peach passionately insists Young is still her master, questioning if his new title as a count means he no longer understands a servant's heart. Young acknowledges her feelings and says he understands. He tells Peach that if she serves him loyally as master, he expects her to obey his words. Peach looks down, seemingly contemplating Young's words. Young then thanks her for agreeing to join him. Young looks serious as he mentions something important she needs to know, stating their current situation is not a casual picnic. He explains their journey will be long and difficult, leading to a place full of monsters, adding that the comforts of the house will no longer exist for them. Peach listens intently as Young explains she will face difficulties far beyond just caring for him. Young looks seriously at Peach, telling her he won't force her to come. He offers her the option to stay and take care of the house while waiting for him. He continues offering Peach choices, explaining that either option would greatly assist him. Suddenly, an achievement unlocked notification appears, granting Young 20 EP. Young reacts with wide-eyed surprise, questioning the unexpected achievement notification. Peach clasps her hands eagerly, looking up with a wide, happy smile. She declares her devotion, ready to follow him and do anything. After Peach declares her devotion, a system message updates her taming level to 150 and her mental strength from 15 to 19. Young welcomes her to the tamer's fief and states they will negotiate her salary after hunting monsters. Against a clear blue sky, an unknown character becomes frustrated, wondering why their horse will not listen. The nameless warhorse, unable to listen, stands in a lush outdoor setting and neighs defiantly. Its status window then appears, showing the warhorse dislikes other riders and sensed a change in its master. Young looks ahead thoughtfully, realizing his warhorse's animal instincts noticed a change in its master. With a bead of sweat, Young sees the taming options. Instant taming with 5 EP or a 10% success rate without it. He believes he is being forced to use EP and considers it a waste. Young looks flustered while Lillian observes him, wondering why he acts like a novice rider. Young then considers giving the warhorse a name. He decides to name it Mayong, stating it is a pain to handle just like Iong, Hoyong's younger sister. The warhorse suddenly rears its head, letting out a loud neigh. Young commands the warhorse to go down, bringing it under control. Young now sits confidently on the warhorse, which is calm and content, while Lillian is partially visible behind him. The sensitive warhorse is delighted by its new name, and a taming level bonus applies. Young commands the warhorse to go, and Young now smiles. The Fordwick Highway, a paved road, connects the capital, Kainea, with various parts of the country. The highway is safe from monsters due to angelic blessings. A walled city appears in the distance, surrounded by trees under a clear sky. Young rides his horse, thinking the highway seems endless and goes on forever. Lillian calls out to Young, telling him she has something important to say. Young listens attentively as they both ride their horses. He realizes Lillian had been looking at him earlier because she had something to say, and he had wrongly suspected her. Lillian continues her report, sharing information she gathered during his preparations. Young gently scolds Lillian, concerned that she didn't rest before their long journey, as he had ordered. Lillian apologizes for not following his instruction. Young tells her not to apologize, then asks for the information she has. Lillian then reveals that monsters are appearing on the highway leading to their destination, Rainfa. Lillian looks concerned. Young reacts with shock and disbelief, a bead of sweat dropping on his face. He questions how and why monsters are appearing near the highway. Lillian states she doesn't know the reason for the monsters, but confirms it's not just a rumor. She explains that troops were dispatched to the highway leading to the Western Plains. Meanwhile, Blue Gem Man sits distressed, covering his head and lamenting the loss of his hoped-for smooth journey. Young listens beside Lillian with a concerned expression. Lillian looks at Young and asks what he plans to do. She states they have to choose between continuing on the highway or taking a detour. Young ponders deeply, weighing the available options. The path forward presents two choices. Continuing on the highway means facing monsters for new resources, or taking a longer detour to reduce encounters but consume more supplies. Young closes his eyes in contemplation, considering whether to choose adventure or the safe bet. After contemplating the options, Young turns to Lillian, who watches him, and asks for her thoughts. Lillian asks if he's truly asking for her opinion. Internally noting this is the first time he has ever asked a subordinate for their thoughts. Young urges Lillian to continue speaking, confirming he genuinely wants her input. Lillian looks up thoughtfully and tells Young she will follow his decision, believing he should make it himself. Lillian then advises against informing others about the monster appearances. Young then asks Lillian for her reasoning as a group of characters and a wagon are visible nearby. Young deeply considers telling the porters the truth about the situation, regardless of the route taken. Lillian reacts with surprise and questions why. She explains he had considered his answer thoroughly before apologizing for getting carried away. Young acknowledges Lillian's viewpoint and agrees her words have merit. He admits that he would also prefer to keep the monster information quiet. Then Lillian wonders about her strong reaction. Lillian then looks resolute, stating he cannot keep it quiet as it is a leader's duty. Young explains that encountering monsters without warning would cause even greater panic. Young says they can only be at ease if they are prepared. He raises his fist, commanding the entire group to halt their march. Young then announces that monsters are now appearing on the highway to the Western Plains. The diverse group of people in a wagon react to this monster warning, calling it rotten luck. Livia boldly dismisses the monster warning as a mere warm-up. She welcomes the monsters, stating she was worried the journey would be boring anyway. Meanwhile, Bowunal peeks from behind a wagon, lamenting that he should have stayed in his cell. Livia frantically protests the sudden danger, claiming a breach of contract. Lillian's voice commands silence, cutting off further protests. Lillian warns against speaking before Margrave has finished, declaring it would be considered insubordination. Young announces his choice to use the highway, explaining there is no guarantee they would avoid monsters even with a detour. He then addresses the porters, guaranteeing their safety as their employer. Young expresses concerns about other dangers like wild beasts or bandits. He counters these fears by stating it would be safer to travel with them, promising protection by reliable soldiers. A system notification confirms the reinforced skill leveled up, greatly alleviating the porter's discontent. However, some dissatisfaction still remains. A man tells Young he understands his words, preparing to voice a new concern. He then asks for higher wages, suggesting hazard pay given the acknowledged risks. Following the man's request for hazard pay, a system notification displays two choices for managing the porters. One option offers hazard pay to satisfy porters, but risks soldier dissatisfaction, while the other means increased porter discontent and potential journey delays. Young internally expresses his exasperation with the presented choices. He questions why the choices are so complex, worrying one option would dissatisfy his soldiers. Young then considers if soldiers would be angry about porters receiving hazard pay while they did not. He has a sudden realization and begins to reconsider the situation. Young recalls his current dilemma is similar to when he was persuading Peach, as both times he was given terrible choices. He remembers giving Peach different options in the past, and now intends to create a new choice. Young appears contemplating a solution with his hand on his chin. The Blue Gem Man then presents a new idea. Young smiles, looking towards the group to propose his alternative. He elaborates on his proposal, explaining that if monsters appear and they defeat them, he would share a portion of the spoils with the porters as a reward. Young then lays out the terms for cooperation, explaining they would also need to help by building barricades or traps. A man smiles, enthusiastically agreeing to the terms, promising to work hard and asking to be looked after. Young affirms he will look after them. He gestures to his attentive soldiers, explaining that rewards for defeating monsters will go to them first. Young explains they were formerly soldiers belonging to the kingdom. With authority, Young then tells his attentive soldiers he can now reward them as the Margrave appointed by the Queen, making them his vassals. Young clenches his fist, announcing he will reward them as he sees fit. He explains that defeating monsters will protect the people of Cain and the Tamer's fief, while also bringing them wealth. This new solution is magnificent, dramatically increasing the taming levels of both porters and soldiers. A diverse crowd cheers enthusiastically, hailing Young as their Margrave and Lord. At the West Plains outpost, Young attentively asks a soldier if there's a village near the main road. The soldier confirms a village is nearby, adding that trolls have been reported in a village a few stops away. The soldier continues, stating they received a warning to protect merchant caravans from attacks. Young tells the soldier to report any urgent news from the vicinity. Peach gently touches Young's shoulder, asking if he is tired. Young lightheartedly dismisses Peach's concern and tells her to go get some rest herself. Peach pouts, complaining that Young is too harsh. Peach observes Young seems different, perhaps from his resurrection. Her feet hurt from walking, and she wishes he had bought her a donkey. Young firmly refuses Peach's demand for special treatment or money, making her think he is a mean master. Peach's determined eyes show her resolve to endure the situation. She looks forward with a resolute expression, reaffirming her long-term goal to one day ride in a carriage with her master instead of walking. A group of soldiers gather around a campfire. One soldier expresses surprise that monsters are on the main road, questioning the highway's supposed blessing. Livia approaches the soldier and asks him for a light. Livia holds the pipe as other soldiers observe her. A figure is engulfed in a burst of fire and smoke. Livia looks directly forward with a mischievous smirk, greeting an unseen rookie soldier. Livia holds her pipe as she states why monsters are showing up on the highway. She explains the angels are neglecting their duties, giving only a small blessing and doing nothing to ensure its effect. Livia speaks to the soldier, questioning his worried expressions and assuring them she will not die. Livia confidently adds that if she does die, she will just resurrect. Livia ponders what would happen if a priestess were struck by lightning. Livia displays a menacing wide smile as she begins to tell them what they can do next. Livia's instructions continue, telling them to resurrect her. She adds that if she burns to ash, they should collect the ashes in a box. Livia reacts with clear surprise and shock, asking what is happening. The orange-hair woman looks up in surprise as lightning appears directly above her. Livia mentions the lightning, appearing to ponder its significance. She reflects that angels should be striking down monsters instead of bothering a priestess. Livia then offers Young a pipe, asking if he wants a puff. Young reaches out his hand and receives the pipe from Livia. Looking at the pipe, Young thinks his younger siblings would not approve, but believes it does not matter since this is not his original body. Livia comments on its excellent taste and origin from MT Talia. Young replies that it is nice. Livia and Young sit together, and she asks him for his thoughts. Young contemplates the situation, asking if she refers to why monsters are appearing on the highway. He thinks that reality and the game have connected for an unknown reason, distorting the world inside the game. Young believes he cannot explain such complex truths to his companions. Livia subtly smiles, explaining that even magic stones need regular recharging. She continues, questioning the expectation of an ancient blessing still working after 500 years without maintenance. Young agrees with Livia, acknowledging the need for proper after-service maintenance. Luvia approves of Young's directness and then asks if his parents are joining him. Young responds with a somber downward gaze, explaining his parents died in an accident. Luvia expresses immediate sympathy with a concerned expression, asking if monsters were involved in his parents' deaths. Young confirms a monster killed his parents, revealing it was a 4-time convict and hit-and-run driver, stating such a person could not be called human. Luvia states they have something in common. Luvia and Young appear to be in agreement, and he encourages her to work well together. Young raises her fist, calling for everyone to halt as she rides her horse, leading a group of companions through the landscape. Lillian and Young exchange questioning glances, and Young asks Lillian what it is. A subquest is issued, requiring them to protect baggage and supplies from Mandragorani monsters. The mission requires 30 or more monster kills for completion. Processing the new information, Young looks down in thought. Young considers the Mandragorani. He reflects on his past encounters with them, identifying them as a known nuisance. Young also thinks he has often seen them on the West Plains and finds them annoying. The Mandragorani is revealed as a deer-like creature, known for screaming like a mandrake. Their scream greatly reduces allies' attack and movement speed for a short time, and these annoying pests scream even as they die. A purple hair man questions the mission to protect the baggage cart, wanting to know when and where the Mandragorani will appear. Young suddenly realizes something, noticing a small detail in the environment. He wonders why the wind isn't blowing. Young urgently announces to the group that Mandragorani monsters are close by. He commands his units to prepare for battle, ordering the first squad to grab spears and form a circle around the baggage cart. Young then instructs the soldiers to plant spare spears firmly into the ground. A soldier affirms the command, and the formation quickly prepares their spears, defending the baggage carts in the open field. Young urgently tells the porters and others to soak cotton in water and immediately plug the soldiers' ears. He then directs his second and third squads to follow him and form a search line. Young commands Bowunal to throw a rock into the western bushes, and Bowunal does so. Bowunal confirms the command is complete, then runs rapidly through the forest. A chilling scream echoes, and the Mandragorani monsters prepare to move. As the Mandragorani unleash a powerful scream, Young reacts with wide eyes and an open mouth, clearly shocked. He then urges the cavalry to charge forward. Young thinks he just remembered something important, wondering if he's ever swung a sword in his life. Young looks forward, a worried expression on his face, as he thinks he's totally screwed. He debates subtly stopping but fears drawing suspicion, all while wondering what to do about his difficult situation. Suddenly, a soldier screams in agony, clutching his hands over his ears and exclaiming that his ears hurt. A Mandragorani opens its mouth wide, letting out a powerful roar. Young, even with cotton in his ears, wonders why he's unaffected by the powerful roar while the soldier suffers. He considers if his past military service has made him immune to such loud sounds. A system message bar then appears, indicating the activation of the heard it a lot deer trait. Young's frequent exposure to similar screams makes him highly resistant to mandrake debuffs. This resistance to screams, however, does not apply to other words. Young suddenly ponders if he put earplugs on the horses. He urgently calls out to Luvia, asking her to quickly cast protection magic on their horses. Another Mandragorani unleashes a distressing scream. Young and Luvia turn their heads in alarm towards the sound. Young's warhorse rears up violently, letting out a loud neigh, as he struggles to stay in his seat. Luvia's warhorse also rears up, neighing loudly. Young looks shocked as he desperately tries to control the agitated animal. The horse's powerful legs move rapidly, stirring up dust. Young desperately tries to control his warhorse, which gallops wildly forward, asking why it's acting like this. Still galloping wildly, the warhorse's head then slams into a Mandragorani's head with a powerful impact. This causes Young to be thrown off its back. He is suspended in midair, completely losing control. Young falls downwards, reacting with surprise to being thrown from his horse. Young screams in terror as he plummets through the air. He continues his fall. As Young falls, his face is seen in a close-up, wide with terror. He braces himself, anticipating impact through the Mandragorani. Young lies prone on the ground. Following the fall, a system notification announces a monster is defeated, awarding 0.25 KP and 5 EP for achieving First Blood. A system notification screen appears, revealing an achievement unlocked, for being the first to defeat the boss, also awarding 5 EP. Young looks down with a weary and surprised expression. A bead of sweat forms on his forehead as he thinks silently. Young lies on the back of a Mandragorani, surrounded by them, and questions aloud. The Mandragorani calls out to Ronnie. Young is surprised by the Mandragorani's words. The soldiers declare they will protect their lord. Following this declaration, Young looks ahead with a serious, concerned, and determined expression. Young thinks about his lack of fighting experience, having only ever used a kitchen knife. He then decides to try crushing them. Young remembers he was the one who found the wild boar at the outpost, Sergeant Bang. Young wonders about the true nature of the mandragora-like deer, or whatever creatures he now faces. Young looks down, his expression determined. He learns that Mandragorani 8 and 9 are usually gentle and dislike hunting, but they started attacking humans after their leader died. The 2 Mandragorani are in a forest. Information appears, stating that creatures can be immediately pacified for 3 EP, or tamed without EP with a 40% success rate. Young loudly commands the creatures to pacify. Taming any monster is difficult during combat. The Mandragorani are now pacified, looking surprised and mentioning Ronnie. A system notification confirms that Mandragorani number 008 and number 009 have become allies and now await new instructions. Young urges a vigorous battle cry forward. Mandragorani 8 and 9 scream in terror. Young's weapon strikes, wounding a Mandragorani as it recoils. Young firmly grips his sword with both hands. He looks forward with a resolute and focused expression. Young aggressively lunges forward, striking a Mandragorani with his sword. Young smiles confidently, satisfied that his abilities work just like in the game. Information appears, detailing that Mandragorani are not affected by each other's screams. However, screams from pacified Mandragorani provide ally buffs and can also damage enemies. Young powerfully strikes a Mandragorani with his sword, making it recoil and cry out. Young states that swordsmanship is nothing special. He examines his sword, which emanates energy, thinking it feels incredibly light despite his expectations. He then smirks confidently, realizing the sword isn't light, but his body is incredibly strong. Young ponders his body's unexpected strength. He questions if Joran, though a strong knight, should possess such power without royal lineage or superhuman abilities. A system notification activates, revealing that due to incomplete possession, he cannot fully use Joran Tamer's combat skills. Instead, his original physical abilities were added to this body. It further explains that his maximum strength is 3 times that of a normal human. Young declares this newfound strength is exactly what he needed. Young is satisfied with the bonus power, believing it makes sense for a knight to receive such a bonus, rather than having 0 sword skill. Young ponders the meaning of a trait name. He wonders if numerical assignments mean he is 1 and Joran is 2. Young violently strikes a Mandragorani. Another Mandragorani is struck by a powerful attack, rearing up on its hind legs from the impact. Young commands Mandragorani 8 and 9 to join the attack. Mandragorani 8 and 9 appear distressed and perspiring. They call out Ronnie's name and acknowledge that the other Mandragorani are still their kin. Young stands in front of Mandragorani 8 and 9, internally refusing to take the action. Young wonders why this unexpected event is occurring and if his pacification level is insufficient. Young urgently raises his hand, mentioning Ronnie's name. Lillian bursts into the scene, calling Young her lord. Young looks over his shoulder as a Mandragorani rapidly runs towards him. Lillian forcefully brings her spear down, then lunges forward, striking the Mandragorani. Blood splatters as the creature rears back, clearly losing the fight. Nearby, soldiers clutch their ears in intense pain, realizing their strength vanishes whenever they hear that sound. Young instructs Lillian to aim for the neck. The blue cloak man looks determined, continuing to shout instructions. Young reflects that cutting off an opponent's entire neck previously made them collapse instantly. He urgently points at the Mandragorani, commanding number 9 to scream and number 8 to wait. A Mandragorani then unleashes a powerful scream, and Young remarks that the timing is good. A Mandragorani's distressed voice urgently calls out Ronnie's. Young states it's clear that fighting with a debuffer behind them is not an ideal situation. He then commands number 8 to scream and tells number 9 to wait. Following his command, number 8 screams, and another Mandragorani suffers amidst the sounds. Lillian observes the scene with confusion, questioning how this happened and why they are fighting each other. Young tells Lillian he will explain later. He then instructs her not to kill the two separated targets. Young watches 3 Mandragorani run, wondering where the remaining creatures are going. He then spots a supply wagon, realizing the creatures are heading towards them. Young demands his companions pursue them immediately. Young commands number 8 to approach him. He explains his intent to ride number 8, despite its confusion. Number 8 questions his command, but Young dismisses its reaction and orders it to lie down. Lillian looks on with concern, questioning him, and now watches with a shocked and concerned expression. Young now rides number 8, and Lillian thinks he has truly mounted a monster. Young smiles confidently and explains his pragmatic decision to use the Mandragorani for transport in place of a horse. Young indicates an action. A soldier raises his spear and commands all troops to take their positions. Mandragorani are surrounded by soldiers and Bowunal. Bowunal clenches his fist and shouts defiantly that his enemies picked the wrong opponents. A rock rapidly descends from the sky, impacting near a Mandragorani, which screams in distress. The impact causes the Mandragorani to lie on the ground ahead. Multiple Mandragorani charge through the soldiers. A soldier maintains a defensive perimeter around a wooden cart. Luvia believes her lord is more timid than he looks and left her to prepare for situations like this. Luvia closes her eyes and chants with clasped hands, asking a higher power to protect the weak. Following her prayer, Luvia stands in a field where Mandragorani graze under a bright sky. A light beam strikes the Mandragorani, throwing it backward. Luvia continues her fervent prayer, telling them to embrace the light as magic around her grows stronger. She commands the power to shine and burst forth, and Luvia's magic then bursts in a massive explosion. A dazzling pillar of light descends from the sky. The sky's bright golden aura illuminates the barren landscape. The Mandragorani turn and try to flee as a blast of light sweeps across the ground towards them, striking more Mandragorani. Young commands everyone to the barricades to block their escape route. He leads the porters, who push large wooden carts to set up barricades in the forest. A voice expresses alarm for Rani. A Mandragorani reacts with wide-eyed fear, its face sweating, letting out a quiet sound of distress. The Mandragorani stands cautiously in a clearing as a spear points towards it. Young welcomes it, asking if this is its first time in a pen, and calls it a deer ranch. Young questions if the approaching cart is a battle wagon or a sword cart. He calls for them to go, then questions if they will become his livestock. A fanged berry deer raises his sword high, ready to strike. Young announces it is time to bid farewell to the deer. Young looks thoughtful, gazing upwards. He observes its potential and offers leniency if it complies, asking if it was brought unwillingly. The Mandragorani nervously pleads for its life, promising to do its best if spared. Young then welcomes the Mandragorani to tamer territory. The Mandragorani stands by his side, seemingly accepting its new role, and vocalizes its name. Young considers his recent capture valuable, feeling that killing them would be wasteful. He then states his intention to work his new allies relentlessly. Young gives further instructions not to kill the monsters they are keeping alive, explaining that these creatures are now on their side. Lillian asks if Young is alright. Young assures Lillian he is fine, but she then questions his mental state. Lillian questions if Young has gone crazy from revival aftereffects, finding it unbelievable that he would make monsters into allies. Young states her words are too harsh. The soldiers question the plan to capture Mandragorani alive. A soldier states that taming monsters is questionable. The retainers and soldiers are greatly agitated, and their pacification levels will drop if they are not convinced. Young looks frustrated. Sensing the agitation, Young declares he is already aware of their concerns. Young thinks about the deer fur from earlier. He considers the fur soft and potentially useful, unlike the stiff fur from previously captured creatures. As Young addresses the gathered troops, he acknowledges his words will sound strange. He then asks everyone to listen carefully. Young explains that he has been revived once. He explains that his revival aftereffects awakened a certain ability. Young announces his unique ability, monster pacification. He explains this power turns monsters into allies for humans. Young calls out to number 8 and 9, telling them to come forward. Number 8 and 9 stand side by side, looking fearful and sweating profusely. Puzzled by their distressed state, Young attempts to reassure them, offering hay. He promises safety and delicious hay if they cooperate, which the creatures accept with understanding and excitement. One creature thinks about disliking wet grass, preferring hay instead. Young commands number 8 to lie down and stick out its tongue. Then, Young instructs number 9 to stand on one leg, and it strains to comply, sweat dripping from its face. The soldiers ask in astonishment if these monsters are truly listening to human speech, questioning if their lord's unique ability is real. Young instructs number 8 and 9, who performed well, to go rest. 3 soldiers continue observing the Mandragorani. A soldier expresses his astonishment that the creatures are not fleeing, stating he never thought he would witness such a sight in his lifetime. Young explains that the Mandragora creatures have proven useful in battle, able to carry luggage and weaken other monsters. Young calls attention to the creature's horns and asks about their effects. He explains that boiling the horns and leaves greatly improves strength recovery. Young then tells Peach to bring some hot water. Peach prepares to comply, politely agreeing to bring hot water and turning to carry out her task. Young calls for mid-level soldier Yak to come forward, while other soldiers watch in the background. The designated soldier looks surprised and hesitant, pointing at himself as he questions if he is the one being addressed. Young reveals the soldier's recent health issues, mentioning frequent waking, cold sweats, and bowel trouble. The soldier looks taken aback by this unexpected knowledge. Even more shocked, he questions how Young knew his personal details. Young explains he learned the information from a status window. Young states that caring for territorial citizens is a lord's duty and asks him to try the tea. He continues to reassure the soldier, who looks up hesitantly, to try the tea, promising to take responsibility if anything goes wrong. The soldier tentatively brings the teacup to his lips and sips the liquid, making a slurping sound. After drinking the tea, the soldier reacts with wide-eyed shock and trembles, expressing confusion.